Therefore, you shouldn't really worry about whatever Donald Trump was doing. This was 2 months ago, right? But just 2 days ago, the Tinubu's ministers, the finance, as well as the economic planning or something, or national economy, whatever, economy planning minister, Bagudu, they appeared before the National Assembly budget something committee, who were asking them about how far your record is completely imbalanced. And if you claimed that you already met your revenue targets for 2025 as far back as August, what is going on? This doesn't really correlate because your budget performance for 2025 is so below, is so low. They say, yeah. Well, the problem was that we didn't meet our revenue target. In fact, we missed it by over 70%. Nigeria's 2025 budget is like 51 trillion, that's it. However, they planned, according to them, they planned to generate revenue to the tune of at least 40 trillion. They were planning to borrow 10 trillion, and God knows. So it's obvious that they didn't meet that. So what they said about that, I'm going to share with you. So we are going to start with the new partial ban on Nigerians. I have seen people who have been trying to make mockery of this in the sense that when Donald Trump, when the America waded into this terrorism issue in Nigeria, and they added Nigeria, should I say, they designate Nigeria as a country of particular interest, this time because of the killings of Christians in Nigeria. So to mount pressure on the government officials, the government of Nigeria, from all levels, right, at all levels, to do the right thing and end this madness. So it was like, yeah, country of particular concern. The citizens are not going to be affected. It will be the government officials, because once they begin to roll out the sanctions, okay, they will be the most affected. Then they were like, oh, hang on, if America also stopped their aid to Nigeria, what does that even mean? It simply means the vulnerable people who needed this help, or who uses this help, if they are actually getting the help, right? So the vulnerable people that need this help will be denied this simply because of the actions of those in government. I'm trying to speak on the third person now. I'm sure you get like how people are kind of reacting when this thing started about 2 months ago. Okay, so Donald Trump, they went as further as allowing a conversation between Nigeria and the United States. Enough that some even suggested that the reason why Nigeria is being disrespected or treated this way was simply because Nigeria had no ambassadors to the United States of America. Then, surprisingly, Nigeria got added to the countries, not just the countries of particular concern this again, right? Country of security concerns. And this time, it's not just government officials, the citizens themselves. So Nigeria is partially, because this kind of proclamation kind of will be reviewed, terminally, so to say. So they announced that Nigerians who have, Nigerian Americans to start with, the Nigerian Americans who have their own American passport or green card and the rest of that, who want to apply for their relatives in Nigeria to join them, like those who want to go and bring their spouses, families, or what have you, from January, right, those families will not get that visa going to America. And those of you who want to go for education, like maybe, you have to, you are sitting for a particular exam this coming year, which will then kind of lead to you going to the United States, you will be exempted too. Not exempted, you are not going to be allowed into the United States. But when the announcement was made, it was like, whether you have an existing visa or you are just going to apply for visa from January, sure you get, you will no longer be welcome to the United States, except some few exceptions. So the confusion spread enough that those who initially campaigned to stop the exposure of the Fulani jihadists, Islamic terrorists, and other terrorists operating in northern Nigeria, killing Nigerians and all of that. So you get, to them, those with the conviction that if America says they are coming to fight for Christians, no, they are not. They're actually coming to take your resources. I'm talking about those advocates of that. So this gives them the gotcha moment. That is, you see, it is no longer government officials. Every Nigerian everywhere right now is going to come under the scrutiny of what America is going to throw your ways. Well, you are not wrong. There are also those who also believe that maybe, just maybe, those who claim to be one Nigerianist, and at the same time, while they are campaigning for or supporting the APC, as well as their propaganda and lies about Nigeria, they are also behind the scene working to relocate their families. There are many of them who have actually, led or deceived people to make them believe that APC meant well. But guess what? The moment they started feeling the heat, they relocated their families outside Nigeria. So, and they are supposed to be the one Nigerianist. That maybe this time around, right, everybody will possibly just stay in Nigeria and fix Nigeria. Well, the real announcement and their real reason is kind of captured in this screenshots you have on the screen. Why did Nigeria become part of this? Like, what, from where to where? The thought that after meeting with Donald Trump's Secretary of War, XF, right, that Nigeria shouldn't probably be added to this, but still, they said it's because of the radical Islamic terrorist group, such as Boko Haram and the Islamic State, operate freely in certain parts of Nigeria, which creates substantial screening and vetting difficulties. According to the overstay report, they said Nigerians on a B1, B2 visa, right? They overstay, 5% of their 5.56%. And then an FM, I think that's the student visas, right? Overstay rate of 11.9%. These are the reasons. These are supposedly reasons, right? So another one, they said the entry into the United States of nationals of Nigeria as immigrants and as non-immigrants on B1, B2 or B1, B2, FM and J visas is hereby suspended. So the part of the confusion right now is that if you are a Nigerian on a Nigerian passport and you have American visa, because the third one is that the consular officers shall reduce the validity for any other non-immigrant visa issued to nationals of Nigeria to the extent permitted by law, right? So the confusion that people kind of like are asking questions of is that, does that mean that if you are issued your visas from Nigeria, or does it just mean that it doesn't matter where it is issued? Like if you have a Nigerian passport with American visa, you are subjected to this. So the other question is that if the declaration of, the adding of Nigeria to this is to stop Nigerians for the next 180 days, which is like about 6 months, all right, from coming to the United States of America, is it not better not to actually like accept any visa application at all from January? So you get like, why should you apply for American visa when you know that it won't be granted? But if it is granted, you won't be allowed entry. Then again, the the cost of one Nigeria today, right? In the last 10 years, the northern politicians who created these armed terror groups that have been killing Nigerians, the same northern politicians have managed to ensure that the system continues to protect them one way or the other. They ensure that Nigeria has failed repeatedly to bring these perpetrators to justice. And therefore, they put Nigeria on the map as one of the terrorized countries in the world. So you get. So today, we all know that the people that actually really want to travel or have been going to America, if we have to consider the percentage from the north, between the north and the southern part of Nigeria, you can easily tell that the southern part of Nigeria, where there is no existence of extremism, religious, killings or whatever it is, right? Like we have in the northern part of Nigeria. Now, that northern part of Nigeria is a place where they barely go to the US except for maybe their politicians and their family. You know what I mean? Like the politicians and their family members. And there are others who are probably like on education scholarship or something. So you barely see them interested in going to America. But guess what? The order of Trump, right, is not going to really, possibly like consider that. I heard that there are those who are giving a different interpretation. Others believe that it will end up in court. So you get, and it won't fly and all, what have you. But that is not the issue. It is the fact that for 10 years of APC, and as they are still pretty much doing, Nigeria became the headquarters, the breeding ground for religious, extremists, including religious Islamic terrorists, the jihadists who have continued to slaughter people in the country. The role of the government of the country, the politicians from north to everywhere, is either that of being so afraid of them. We know those who are milking the opportunity. And this is how Nigeria happened to you. You've done nothing wrong, you will say, right? What have you done wrong? I've not done anything. I mean, you know what I mean? But here we are, said, President Donald J. Trump signed a proclamation expanding and strengthening entry restrictions on nationals from countries with demonstrated persistent and severe deficiencies in screening, vetting, and information sharing to protect the nation from national security and public safety. Now, something here is this, right? You can possibly say, well, Donald Trump said Nigeria is a disgraced country. So every other of his action or proclamation considered to be coming from, well, that same point of view, which, well, others disagreed with, by the way. And at the same time, if you take a look at the list of these countries that are, that are added to this ban, and you will realize that they are mostly African countries, and some of these, Asian Pacific, countries, they are those. But the real place where you have all these, the birth of these ISIS, Al Qaeda, and the rest of them, those who inspired this terrorism, and those who are probably countries that have been accused of funding them, none of them is on the list. So that brings us back to how Washington sees Nigeria. And why is Washington seeing Nigeria the way Washington sees Nigeria? It's just simply because of, the characters in your government. Maybe that may actually be the main thing. Well, any reasonable thing to say. When you have a country, supposedly 250 million people, who are comfortable with those who are very much romancing terrorists and jailing activists. The supposed number one citizen of the country is a known, drug dealer who had forfeited the same proceeds of narcotics to drug, white heroin, right? Forfeited over $460,000 to the same American courts. So such countries shouldn't be so surprised if for any reason you are being treated this way. No respect, no nothing. Simply because it's more or less like, why should anybody respect you when you do not have any iota of respect for yourselves rather? to have somebody like this Koolu and his gang who are running a propaganda government in a country that is imploding right under them, right? But they are telling themselves that they have done so well that if you don't agree, it's simply because you're an hater. And yet, here we are, right? Now talking about Koolu, because well, however this ends or goes, of course, it's going to probably be us paying for what do you call it? The cost of one Nigeria. 2 months ago, Koolu had his court jesters, his praise singers gathered in a room inside the asshole rock. And what were they talking about? Yeah, that was around the time that Donald Trump was talking about sanctioning Nigerian government officials, withholding the aid that they give to Nigeria, just as a sign of sort of like a sanctions to get Nigeria to act and end these killings, right? But in return, Koolu bragged and said, you know what? We are doing so well. The economy has turned the corner. Inflation is falling. We have met our 2025 revenue target. And they all clap. We don't care about what Trump is saying or what Trump is doing anywhere. When Tinubu took or grabbed power in Nigeria, the inflation, well, the official inflation figure in Nigeria was 20% or 21% under Bukwari. And the supposed food inflation was put somewhere around 34%. Was there? No, 25% rather. None of them got to 30, except the unemployment, which was at the time put at unemployed Nigerians were put at over 40%, while those called the underemployed Nigerians were somewhere around the 76%. So the data that was backed by the same World Bank that is borrowing their money. Tinubu came, removed the subsidy, crashed the economy, then told people that, yeah, it's just the price they will pay because now they will save money. Enough money that usually goes to the private pocket of these oil marketers. Rather, this money will now go into infrastructures. This money will go into, improved sort of like electricity. They should have made all these nonsense promises to them, and people believed them. They painted a graphic picture of what this money could have done and how much of this money is being lost. Anyway, the economy tanked. They ran back to the World Bank, IMF, and the rest of them. They told them to go and devalue the Naira. Straight up, Tinubu devalued Nigerian Naira. And like that, boom, it was a straight fall. I mean, like a free fall. Nigeria's Naira became a tissue paper, a trash. Right? Nigerians' resources, most of them were given away in a very much like a giveaway prices. And most of them are actually stolen. Nigeria ran up, Nigeria ran up so much debt in a year that Tinubu actually matched the money borrowed by Bukwari in 8 years. So what were they going to do? Would this money create jobs? Would the economy improve? No. Rather, inflation skyrocketed. That was when they went straight to work. They said, no, we need to rebase this measurement. This is now to measure inflation. This is now to measure unemployment. You know what I mean? They started cooking their own book, starting with, inflation inflation will fall down back to 15% by 2025. How? As how now? Would you improve electricity supply? Would you improve the, Naira's supposed value? So you have to see something to say, okay, yeah, something's going to start coming down soon. But boom, the next thing they told us that unemployment, the measurement used for unemployment in Nigeria was wrong. That if you are in Nigeria, there are those who at least manages to get something done, whether they just clean people's car or wash somebody's car, or somebody asked them to help them paint a place. So if you are making up to like 1,000 naira a week or 10,000 naira in a month, you are not unemployed. Here you get, you are employed in the Tifnumbu's new employment data. Boom. From nowhere. Nobody they create anything. No. Unemployment in Nigeria dropped from 76% to 4.3%. That's what they are working with. Simply means that they have done so well. Go and check out the past data, right? Unemployment was like this. Under Tifnumbu, within a year, it has come down to 4.3%. Wow. So did they create new jobs? Did they create like tens of millions of jobs? No, they didn't. Or maybe not in that way. Because they did create jobs, right? They call them data boys on social media who have turned themselves to tax experts, you know, patriotic Nigerians, lovers of data contraption, where they help them to spread lies that doesn't really reflect the reality. So Tifnumbu and his gang told themselves that they are doing so well. The state are getting more money. Local governments are getting more money. What else do you want? We did explain to people and said, your devalued naira, right? Now that is now so much like this. It's so valueless, right? That you can see through the Tifnumbunomic. You don't care about whatever Trump says. People said, hey, careful. Don't say you don't care about what Trump says. So, but he did say it. Only for them to come back now to start telling us something else. And I will share that with you. First, when Koolu, the economy is turning the corner. We don't care about Trump.
If non-oil revenue is going well, then we have no fear of whatever Trump is doing on the other side.
The economy is, Koolu. That was another one, right? This one.
Don't worry about that. Yes, we know we have the challenge of inflation. It's okay. We will bring it down. We are re-engineering. Our revenue is getting better. And we are taking our sovereignty and respect back around the world. Not that we have to go there and hire them to do the job for us. We are doing it ourselves. Whatever is happening to us, we have to solve it by ourselves.
Nuisance, Lele.
Koolu. I mean, give it to him, right? He's got his audience. There are those who are very much there to clap for him and say, wow, he's a genius. But they all know themselves that they're lying to themselves. Contractors are not paid, especially the local ones. But the foreign contractors, those ones who are doing all those big projects, right? They are getting paid. They haven't protested yet. But those who are the local contractors, those who are in Nigeria, have been protesting and they've not been paid. They've been tear gassing. That's a contraption. They have been printing money. I'll keep reminding you of that. The only time that Koolu and his gang, sort of like maybe they were just trying to consolidate power then, okay? Early in his government, see, Bokwari printed 27.5 trillion naira. In a year, Tifnumbu and Cardoso, they printed over 22 trillion naira. But some of you probably will never remember that. How did they do it? Tifnumbu and the Cardoso, they put together scammers. Tifnumbu, the Bokwari printed in 8 years, it printed 27.5 trillion naira. So that money was declared as a debt that the federal government of Nigeria owed the Central Bank of Nigeria. Bokwari was the first to break the law. They said the law of Nigeria says if Nigeria's budget has, let's say, 5%. Oh, hang on, let me rephrase. The Constitution of Nigeria says the Central Bank of Nigeria can give 5% worth of the total budget if Nigeria is running a deficit, but with a promise. Let's say Nigeria want to spend 100 naira in 2025, and they know that they are going to generate 80 naira from taxes, you get, or let's say they are going to generate 80 naira by June, for example, by June 2025. This is like 2024 now, right? By June 2025, we are going to generate, we expect to generate 80 naira. That's going to be like 80% of our budget that we want to spend. But we need extra 20% to balance it so that we can deliver our budget. So the Central Bank of Nigeria can say, how much is the total budget? 100 naira. How much is the 5% of that budget? So the 5% of 100 naira will be like 5 naira. The Central Bank of Nigeria will now say, okay, we'll give you 4 naira, and you're going to give us 4 naira 50 kobo bako. Here you get, that's the role of central bank in budget. Yeah? Between 1970, Nigeria, between 1970 and 2015, the Central Bank of Nigeria loaned a total of 800 million naira to the central government of Nigeria. It was less than $1 billion naira. Between 2015 and 2023, the Central Bank of Nigeria under Emefiele printed a total of 27.5 trillion naira, which at the rate that time was $51 billion. That's the conversion. That was the total money given to the government of Buhari that nobody can tell you what they use the money for. Nobody can. There is not, they use this money to construct this road, though, or they use this money to construct this hospital. No, nobody could say. So they broke laws. When Tinubu came in to pave way for his own printing of money, you know what he did? He told Cardoso, I mean, Cardoso tell us, say, we will securitize Buhari's loan, because Nigeria was supposed to pay back about 30 trillion naira. That's how much Nigeria was supposed to pay back to the Central Bank of Nigeria. Forget the fact that they flooded God knows where this money actually went to, but they flooded the whole economy with this surplus of cash with no production, no nothing. The money is not a profit from anything. It is purely printed. It's like just printing paper in your printer at home and start sending and say, print me 1 million copies. And the printer continued to print you 1 million and all of that. Sure, you get, that's how they were printing the money. It didn't come from anything. And it just disappeared like that. So Tinubu now said they should securitize it and say the money will be paid back to Central Bank of Nigeria for the next 100 years. I don't know if you all know that anyway. Do you know that? That's what they did with Buhari said 27.5 trillion naira. Yeah, securitize it. It will now be a future loan. So you get that the Central Bank of Nigeria can start deducting it. But it will be like in the next 100 years. What did they tell the press? They said Tinubu has paid off the 30 trillion naira printed by Buhari. Maybe you're one of those who said it. Or probably help them spread the nonsense, right? But what they were doing then is to create the room for Tinubu's new money printing. So you get to be able to be factored into their economy, in their voodoo economy. Voodoo. Nigeria said debt jumped from what they claimed 108 billion US dollars to what is now over $200 billion. But they denied, they are denying it. They are saying, give us evidence. Guess what? All the money they claim to be generating, that they are now giving to the states. Local government is getting more money. State is getting more money. Ask them to give you account of where did they get the money from. Usually before this Tinubu, you could go to the Ministry of Finance and go and read about their money, how the money came in. You could go to the central bank's website and you get to see how, even though they are stealing it, you could still see figures public since Tinubu came in. Not even the National Assembly of Nigeria have details of Tinubu's money they are generating, the one they are spending, which one is loan. All these figures are so shrewded enough that those who are supposed to actually question it, they have ended up as separate singers, defenders of it, or people who just want to blindside you or blindside you, blindside you. You see all these things I'm saying, right? There are things that will eventually come to light, like most are now saying that 95% of those who worked with Bokwari, they are supposed to be in jail. 95% of them. I didn't say it. Now, one of the Tifnubu's camp said it. Sure, you get. These whole shrewd things that they are, including the cooking of their inflation, this and that doesn't match up with the supposed interest rates. Like you say, things are coming down, but it's not really like, So they called the minister or the ministers to come and tell people about this money, because the books we have here, they are not really correlating with what you made us believe. To start with, for you to understand this GBT very well, this fraud very well, the Tifnubunomic. When Tifnubu came in 2023, the 2023 budget was already signed into law by Bokwari, but they said because it wasn't Tifnubu that wrote the budget or something, so they had to quickly prepare a supplementary budget for Koolu. In that supplementary budget, which was at the time, I think it was a 9.8 billion naira. No, trillion naira rather. Yeah, trillion. Between May 29, 2023 and December 2023, Tifnubu's supplementary budget to balance what Bokwari left was 9.8, nearly 10 trillion naira. And the 10 trillion naira was coming from whatever they met that Bokwari left, as well as the short loans, quick loans provided them by IMF and World Bank at the time. So they now wrote their own budget of hope 2024, right? And everybody will feel like, okay, yeah, normally in Nigeria, there is a law that says once the year ends, all ministries, agencies, parastatals, call them, they must all rest back every penny that is left in their own accounts straight into, I don't know, TSA accounts, meaning every ministry. People have been convicted for sharing the money before the December 31st of a year. In case if you don't know, right? People have been convicted of sharing money that they were supposed to, the unfinished money for that year, that they were supposed to return back to the TSA account, but they shared it quickly. You get on false, fake, sort of like projects. But when Tifnubu and his gang came, Tifnubu actually wrote National Assembly to give the supplementary budget of 2023 an extension to June 2024. While the same National Assembly approved 2024 budgets where Tifnubu signed. So in 2024, two budgets were running. By the time they got to the middle of 2024, Tifnubu again, by fiat or the whatever, right, extended the lifespan of the supplementary budget of 2023, the budget of 2024. He expanded their lifespan to the end of 2024, meaning Nigeria will be running two budgets in a year. But that's not all. By the time they get to July 2024, the Tifnubu that wrote 2024 budget himself this time, requested for another supplementary budget within that time, in case if you have forgotten. So by the end of 2024, Nigeria was operating 3 different budgets. But guess what? None of this record of these expenditures, what they spent, what they transferred, what they moved, is public. None of it is public. So in that regard, he gave room to his appointees to do whatever they want. Change figure here, add that one there. It was like a free for all. Everybody just take whatever. And that's what is happening in that contraption, in case if you don't know. By the end of 2024, he submitted 2025 budgets. And this is 2025, December 2025. Guess what? Tifnubu is operating, and again, 2024 budget and 2025 budget in 2025. Now they are now telling us that the money they raised, they realized in 2025, they used the money to finish 2024 budget in 2025. Now, the same demo who wrote 2025 budget too, they now said, but the problem now is that their revenue target for 2025, they didn't meet it. No, I'm actually making it sound so understandable. You need to listen to them, all right? And tell me what you think. These are the characters in charge of economy of Nigeria. The ones that turned the Ojobagogo, Koolu, they turned him into a comic actor that is fooling those who want to be fooled. Millions of you in that contraption. You should listen to them. Because if I continue to break it down, you begin to kind of like understand that. Maybe, okay, yeah, listen to them.
So since 2025 budget has been enacted as a law, not until that is either amended or repealed. And when you say you are taking it over, we assume that you are taking exactly what is in the act to now create the next appropriation act. So we need that explanation. Then just take note, Honorable Minister.
Is what is making it impossible for you to implement the budget? Because Appropriation Act is a law related to each year, which you must comply with. Since you have the money, there's no request you have made to this Senate that has not been given to you, and we adopt as a rubber stamp. So what is your problem? Why are you rolling over budget of 2025 to 2026 instead of extension? 70%. Why are you rolling it over?
And there's nothing wrong, like you said, and I agree with you absolutely, that if you amount to waste, if you start a project and you pay 30% of that project, and in the next budget, that project is not captured, money already spent on it is as good as thrown away. So the logic of continuing, I understand, but the language of rollover, I do not. So I think I understand you to mean, and that should be the case, that never again should we implement more than one budget.
The issue of capital. Right now, funding is fully available for the 2024 capital budget that has been finalized and is in the gateway up to September. Funding is available for a portion, and the other portion, the plan is to roll it over to 2026 budget. Likewise, for the 2025 capital budget, funding has been made, warrants have been issued, and funding is available for 30% of that budget, with the plan, with the cooperation and the support of the National Assembly to roll over the 75%. When we look at borrowing, we have roughly 152 trillion naira outstanding. And that figure was about 70 trillion naira in 2023 or so. But what accounts for the difference? 30 trillion, as we all know, was the bringing into the light, bringing into the books of the government of ways and means that were previously just ignored and kept outside. Another 50 trillion was accounted for by the fact that the exchange rate doubled. I mean, central bank in its monetary policy focused on clearing backlogs and bringing in foreign reserves, and we know how successful they have been. So of 152 trillion naira, 80 was essentially not new borrowing, it was more regularization and adjustment.
All mentioned here today that we have 2024, we are in 2025, but you have 1 year revenue, use it to manage 2-year budget. So even if you met the 1 year revenue, how will you hear the Honorable Minister say, I'm paying 2024, whereas you are taking 2025 revenue to pay 2024. So when Mr. President said, when we said, because as of the work we've all done, that we've met revenue target, which is annually, but you are using 1 year revenue to manage more than 1 year budget. That is why you are seeing the outstanding, and which is what Honorable Minister is trying to do. That now let's have a consolidated budget. So because if I have 1 year revenue, let me use it to manage 1 year expenditure. But in a situation that I have a year revenue to manage multi-years revenue expenditure, we will continue to have this imbalance.
Macroeconomic reforms, some of the measures we have taken have implications that were not immediately obvious. The impact of the 22.7 trillion naira securitization is still being felt in terms of interest costs, particularly rising interest costs. But more importantly, not only rising interest costs, almost the inability to go to the central bank when we have demand beyond the legal.
ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún ṣe lálìkìyàmọ ẹ̀yin rádaràda wọ̀nyí. ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún ṣe lálìkìyàmọ ẹ̀yin rádaràda wọ̀nyí.
Professional criminals like Nigeria has never operated two budgets from 1 year to another ever before, until Koolu and his Baranda boys, Lagos boys, until they came into the picture and they started doctoring the book, cooking it, and using some of these funny grammars. You know what I mean? Using funny grammars to make it look more or less like, you know, they are making any sense at all. But they're not. We are using 2025 revenue to fund 2024. But guess what? When you look at their supposed budget very well, which is mostly copy and paste. So if you have a budget that says, okay, we are planning to generate 100 naira, but you know what? We only generated a 60 naira, which means our budget performed maybe 50% or 55%. So what that means is that any unfinished project will be listed as continuum. Abi, you don't say it is 2024 budget. No. You will close it in that 2024 and 2025 when you know that, oh, we still need to spend another 10 naira on this project too. So we have to move it to 2025. So you will capture it under 2025. But because it is all baranda, it is all kind of like, scam. The more you look, the less you see. You know? It shouldn't be so difficult. Like, it should be straightforward. Like, those who are dealing with accounts when they are not being dubious, like being shady, they should be able to explain it so easy. They should be able to make it understandable, right? But not these guys. You have no idea what has befallen that Nigeria under these guys. This morning, I believe, a PDP House of Representative member from Sokoto dropped one bombshell. He said, the tax laws or the tax bill they debated and passed and gave to Koolu is quite different from the one that Koolu signed and gazetted, because they are beginning to kind of like feel some strange things or strange sort of like a section of the supposed national new tax law in Nigeria, because they never had anywhere that Nigeria will be signing an MOU with another country when it comes to modernizing your tax or tax collection data, this and that. Like, why is France signing an MOU that is not public? National Assembly have no clue what is in that MOU, Memorandum of Understanding between France and Nigeria. But these guys are telling them that, no, don't worry, everything is, it's all right. Mr. President know that what we are doing and the rest of that. But come back to this money issue. So they met the supposed Nigeria debt at 70 trillion naira, 78 trillion naira. Now they are having what? And you see that figure is also a lie. Nigeria's debt is now 150 something trillion naira. That's not true. If you convert Nigeria's debt, local and foreign, convert everything together, Nigeria's total debt right now is over 500 trillion naira. Quote me anywhere. And that is no thanks to the devalued naira, which is also deliberate, if you know the history of that. So Nigeria is in so much debt. But at the same time, Nigeria is making so much money that they don't really have to tell you. You have no idea how much is Nigeria making from crude oil, do you? We used to know that. I mean, where they used to give us figures. These days, nobody knows how much Nigeria is making from crude oil. How much crude oil Nigeria is selling right now. No idea. How much has the Central Bank of Nigeria printed for Koolu in the name of a ways and means that they have managed to ensure that the people no longer pay attention to? How much has Koolu given to these oil marketers? Well, not many of them. You know, how much millions or billions of dollars have crossed hands in this their shady dollar subsidy for fuel importers to Nigeria? All of these are going to come to light later, just like we are right now, realizing that they are begging the National Assembly to help or allow them to, because they've been getting that. They got it in 2023, they got it in 2024, and obviously going to get it now as well. These same guys are also preparing what should be 2026 budget. And guess what? They are also going to tell you, I mean, they are banking on this, their new tax law, which is going to kick off in the next few weeks, by the way. So they're banking on that, that's going to make them a lot of money. And somehow maybe they will use that to bridge the gap, the budgetary, fraud that they have been doing, bridge it at some point. But there is nothing that is going to be enough for their greed. That's one thing about greed. Nothing is going to be enough because the greed that finally created this gap is probably so bigger than what they can imagine, right? So yeah, they are looking forward to 2026, writing budget on that. And yet, 2025 budget, with what they told you in 2024, could only be funded up to the tune of 25%. That is the worst. But they are not ashamed of it. They practically told the National Assembly that, you know what? Yeah, we will fund it next year. Which means these same guys are going to present a budget that could be like 100 trillion naira, 2026. And they are expecting all of you to give them maybe 90 trillion naira. They will tax poverty. You get not prosperity, so to say. But they are lying to you right now that no, they are, they are not going to tax the poor, they say. But here, sorry, one sec. Yeah.
42, which does not need any exhaustive deliberations. So I would say that your point of order is sustained. However, you have to know it's not only politicians that they...
We will come back to that. Let's see this Shokoto lawmaker that dropped that bombshell. We'll come back to that one.
Or breach of privilege has been committed, or referring the matter to the Committee of Ethics and Privileges. Still, if the matter is raised in the Committee of the Whole, the chairman shall leave the chair on the order to report progress. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm here today because my privilege has been breached as a member of this all-important House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we passed the tax laws on this floor, and Mr. Speaker, I took my time in the last 3 days to look at the gazetted past copy the vote and proceedings of the House of Representatives, and also went an extra mile to look at the vote and proceedings of the Senate, of what was harmonized. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, what I passed on this floor is not what is gazetted. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I have all the copies, but I'm coming under privilege because I was here, I gave my vote, and it was counted, and I'm seeing something completely different. So on that note, on this privilege, I will call on Mr. Speaker to graciously look at what was harmonized, what is in the gazetted copy, what was passed in the House and the Senate. You will find out what is before Nigerians, which is being sold to Nigerians at the Ministry of Information, which I personally went to buy the gazetted copies, are not what was passed. So there is no motion here, but Mr. Speaker, I'll be pleading that all the documents should be brought before the Committee of the Whole. The whole members should see what is in the gazetted, should see what they passed on the floor, so that we can make the relevant amendments. Mr. Speaker, this is the breach of the Constitution, this is the breach of our laws, and this should not be taken by this honorable House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Abdul Samad. Your observation is noted and action will be taken. I assure you that. Thank you.
No, there's nothing that will be done. Do you even understand what that means, right? That is an impeachable offense. National Assembly passed a supposed law, and they took a bill to law. They took it to the president, which would then sign it, assent to it as law, only to discover that, hang on, yeah, I signed what we took to him, but what got gazetted into the government gazette, which is actually what would authorize, or should I say, authorize the supposed law to give it real authority, so to say, it's completely different. They've inserted this and that, right? So he went as far as buying the copies they approved and the one printed by the Ministry of Information. That is impeachable offense. Yeah. But who is going to impeach Koolu? Who is going to impeach Koolu? And you see all this abuse of your law, disobedience to court orders, and all these things as the record of those who are supposed to be respecting the law and obeying the law, will contribute to what many of you probably will call the support for those who want them out, and not just out, prosecuted for violating your own laws. But they are above it anyway. The other day, Koolu, through the office of Referendum, approved the promotion of his own ADC to one-star general. Somebody will no fight anything, will no get any direct contribution to the army, other than just standing behind Tifnumbu. And within 2 years, you want to make him a brigadier general. Now he's reversed it now. Yeah, they've reversed it. They said, okay, because some soldiers and what have you probably reached out to him like, why would you do that? Now they've reversed it and said, no, it's not being promoted to brigadier general. That's a fake news. No, it's not. In Abuja today, there is a park, or should we say, I call it park though, but it's an estate. It's called the River Park Estate in Abuja. So those of you who have probably who live in that area, this is just your story. Okay, put it that way, your story, right? So what happened? These people of it's kind of like a posh area, so if you say, like with a lot of residents. Okay, so they went to court when they realized that with a week's sort of like searchlight was coming their way. So this River Park Estate, I think it's in Lugbe. I've been at Lugbe in Abuja. So they said with a week's sent is foot soldiers, okay, to go and tell them that they shouldn't have been there in the first place. So they're demolishing their houses. I mean, houses that have been there for more than a decade or 2 decades, so to say. But it is the same, it is the same modus operandi, if you ask, right? All Wike needed is just to tell you that you are occupying the land illegally. Well, when you present your document and the rest of that, he is not interested. But this time around, there was no Yerima. There was a court order. And for many places in that same Abuja, who knows how Wike acts, court doesn't matter. Who is that judge that said that if Wike violated the court order, he would be punished for it? No, there is none. And this happened in Abuja today. I'll show you the court order too, but watch this first.
Everywhere is blocked. Nobody can even go out. It's a serious matter.
That's how they broke the fence. I should not make video. Maybe I should not make video. You intimidate school.
Yeah, the owners, they're not around.
Yeah, demolition.
Why?
Why? You work with one of the real estate people?
Yes.
So the supposed senator representing Abuja, Ireti Kingibe, right, raised that on the floor of the Senate today, which in fact led to a bit of like exchanges between herself and Akpabiole and others who are obviously on the side of Werewike. So she was trying to get the National Assembly involved in all of these demolitions in a way. But yeah, she didn't have a way. Okay. Ireti Kingibe this afternoon.
Kingibe said that she has a motion of urgent national importance in line with her rules, and that it has to do with the total failure of waste management in the FCT, which is affecting lives. That is urgent. But in our motion here, we are saying something about non-mobilization of contractors. We are saying something about it has nothing to do with waste management. We have seen something about allocation and reallocation of land. We have seen something about demolition. We have seen something about depletion of the University of Abuja land. We have seen something about allowances. So I want you as a national importance. And what we are advising is that in view of the fact that too many things are bundled into this motion, can she pick the item that is most important and bring back to us? And the senators have taken the decision. But if you are sitting down there and then I heard Senator Ningi saying she's a senator, she has the right to bring a motion. So if you bring a motion that is incurably bad, must we wash our dirty linen in the public? Can't we withdraw the motion and bring back another? Can we do consultations?
Thank you very much for recognizing me.
6. My point of order is order 52 sub 6. And if I have your permission, I will read. It shall be out of order to attempt to reconsider any specific question upon which the Senate has come to a conclusion during the current session, except upon a substantive motion for decision. 2 quick issues, sir. Number 1, and I said it with all due respect to Mr. President as our presiding officer and the chief interpreter of this rule, the only question that could be put on this matter was whether or not this Senate consider the issues raised by the Single Senator Ireti Kingibe as urgent enough to be taken today. That is the only question that can be put. Number 2, when a motion is brought and it is discovered that there has not been compliance or substantial compliance with our rules, the only thing to do is, to kill that motion and move on. We have a lot on our order paper, and there's no point to be going back and forth. We don't even need to advise the Single Senator Ireti Kingibe to bring back a motion. It is our right, as observed by Senator Ningi, to bring a motion. The only position we have taken as a Senate is that this cannot qualify for a matter of urgent public importance. She can.
It's not considered as a matter of urgent public importance, then they don't consider it as a matter of urgent public importance. It's only what they say is important that is important. Okay? So a few weeks ago, when the Nigerian police IG announced a new kind of clampdown that he called ban on tinted glasses, tinted windows in your car, and that will be a crime that you have to kind of remove it. The Nigerian Bar Association took them to the court by telling them that that's pretty much illegal. Okay. So in the midst of that, they actually got an interim injunction to stop the police from carrying out that order. So in the process, police canceled or discontinued that order and pretended to have, went into to go into a negotiation with the NBA. While they were at it, NBA withdrew their own case from court. Immediately, the NBA withdraws their case from court, right? Boom. Nigerian police announced again that, sure, the ban on tinted glass goes into effect on a so day. Now, the NBA feeling disappointed, saying that the police cannot be trusted. And they will be, if they should go ahead, that means they will be conducting an illegality. Nigerian police and illegality. Isn't that like the name and the surname, so to say? It's like one.
It's a public-private initiative which will require that the concession agency will give a concession. There's no indication as to the transparency. There's no indication as to what happened to the earlier permits given by the police. And assuming it is according to the police for security reasons that they are doing this, what happened to the validity of the earlier permits granted by the police? Why do you have to renew it? And we believe that the police is setting up members of the police and empowering policemen on the street and on the roads to extort money from civilians and harass them. And we also believe that the purported notice of resumption is a calculated attempt by the police to make life very difficult for people this festive period by claiming that the resumption will be by 2nd January 2026. The police is simply saying, rush to get the so-called permit. So Nigerians who are already growing under harsh economic conditions, who are trying to feed their family, and those who are trying to find ways to travel to their villages and other places for the festive season, would have to accommodate the extortionate rate for obtaining this. And those who have tried to say that even the official fee is not enough. You have to also pay third parties to be able to get this. And our question is, if it is a crime-fighting measure by the police or policy by the police, and not a money revenue-making one as we contend it is, and as it is indeed, why can't this data be obtained at the point of renewal of your vehicle particulars, which involves the police, the customs, the state security service, and the licensing authority? Why is the IG so interested in compelling members of the public to pay money into a private account? And there's a lot of opacity. How did they arrive at the amount being paid? How is this money being spent and shared? If it is for public purposes, why is it not being paid into federal government account through a TSA account? And we should not tolerate such a thing. And the police should allow people to enjoy their season and if anything about tinted approval. And if it is indeed to secure the lives of the people, there must be more creative ways of protecting the people and ensuring the security of the people without imposing further financial hardship on the people. And also doing it at a time that members of the public who may need to travel, who may need to put their vehicles on the road, will be harassed, extorted money, have their movement impeded, and oftentimes may be impounded by overzealous policemen on the road, who may not distinguish even between the so-called takeoff time of January 2nd. It's a time to say no. And we're also calling on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, to call the Inspector General of Police to order. We've also, as at this moment, delivered a letter to the Office of the Attorney General, asking the Attorney General to also write to the police to cease and desist from this unlawful activity, which does not portray the country in a good light and imposes unnecessary hardship. As a public-private initiative, which will require that the concession.
You are dealing with criminals, and you think logic will make any sense to any of them? No, I don't think so. Nigerian police charges you for tinted window permit. Then somehow they stopped it, ban it. And then they changed their mind again to say, oh, you need to get a permit. And you just have no idea that what are these guys doing? Then when you begin to dig, like, the NBA guy just said, you discover that this morning is just a scheme, a grand scheme being run at the national level from the office of the police IG. And people have been extorted of hundreds of millions, if not billions of naira. And it's just a place that you will know, it's just a racketeering, or, it's like a racket that they are running. But who do you report to when the person at the top of the pyramid is the initiator, or is the number one law officer, number one police officer of the country? So that tells you that, the rot is institutionalized. And it's sad, because the same police are those who won't actually really provide security where it is mostly needed. It's the same police who are meant to understand supposedly the internal security, right? But it's the same police that have been fingered as being part of those who also help terrorists, right? Collect their ransoms, negotiate for ransoms, and instances where communities have to kind of go make peace with terrorists. And this peace is not sacrosanct. It's not like, it's binding. No, it's not. Because, for example, the people of Malumfashi, I think it's called Malumfashi, in Katsina states, among the states where we have been seeing all these bandits, they call them, armed terrorists, coming for peace deal. Did they have any peace? Like having peace deal with terrorists, where those who are supposed to protect you are also attending peace deal, because they also feel like they need a peace, rather than really like execute the law and arrest the real criminals, right? Unfortunately, in Malumfashi community there, right, in Katsina State, the residents are regretting. In fact, they are full of regret over what they believed is like, taking an offer from the devil and hoping that it will be merciful to you. They have not known any real peace from the same terrorists that rode into their communities weeks back, talking about peace, right? I don't understand Hausa that much. But if Garba, if our own, Yuma, if Yuma is here, and then who else again? Our own Garba life, yes. And then who else understand, Hausa very well and listen to these people telling us their experience of what the peace that they thought they signed for now feels like.
To assalamu alaikum. Malamai daga ina kuke haka? Na'am. Yanzu ina za ku je nan kenan? Garin Mantau? Okay. Akan me dai abin da aka yi ne ya hito da ku kuma kenan? Kun kawo dauki kenan garin Mantau kenan? To ubangiji Allah saka muku da alkhairi. Allah saka muku da alkhairi. Na'am, sun kashe shi. To ubangiji Allah saka muku da alkhairi. Na'am. Sun dauke ta. To Allah ubangiji ya gwada mana fita. To amma dama tunda suka wannan kisan na masallaci suna hitowa. Kwana 8 kullum sai sun fito. Kun je Malumfashi wajen Galadima, amma abun ya kici ya cirewa. An ce jiya sun tangaza mutun nawa? Sun gansu ido da ido ba. Sojojin sun gansu ido da ido. Amma ba su yi masu komai ba. To ubangiji Allah gwada mana mafita. Allah gwada mana mafita. Allah gwada mana mafita. Malam, me ya faru da ku a yau?
Gaskiya malam muna cikin matsala. Muna cikin alhini.
Daga murya ka bana jin abin da kake cewa.
Muna cikin alhini yau. Muna cikin tashin hankali. Yau an zo an yi mana banna yankin nan namu.
To amma bannan nan yau ne suka zo koko already dama suna zuwa.
Already gaskiya a satin nan kullum sai sun shigo. Saboda suna mana wasu maganganu wanda cewa suke za su tashi ma yankin nan.
Malumfashi ta yamma kenan?
Malumfashi ta yamma.
Wajen garin Mantau da aka yi kisan masallacin.
Kamar da aka masu kisan nan sun ce kuma sai sun zo sun yi mana.
Yanzu dai wannan wanda aka kashe yana opposite da gidan Mantau wato makera kenan. shine Allah wa rasuwa wanda saka shi a yanzu shine aka gawo shi ko
kullum a daji muke kwana yau yau sati guda kenan saboda wannan magana da suka mana ta cewa za su zo garin nan to kullum yanzu matan garin nan ba ko mace daya
to amma an ce an turo muku sojoji suna kare garin
gaskiya mu ya sojoji ba mu gani ba
na'am
mu ga sojoji ba
to yau kuma an ce an yi katsabar da sojojin da su amma ba a harbe su
sojoji ka gani sojoji
na'am
amma sai bayan abu an zo an ya faru an yi harbe komai kuma manta da abu kan nan sai ka kaso zo
to ubangiji Allah gwada mana mafita Allah kawo mana dauki wannan garin makera kenan inda aka kashe wanda aka kashe Allah ya sa a garin yake wanda aka yi atakin dinsa a gona aka kashe su akalla dai yanzu mutanen mu dai an ce suna can ana ta neman waɗanda aka bibba ana harbi kenan ko to Allah ubangiji to amma mata da aka tarwatsa tunda an ce gona cike take da mata
ba ma musamman wasu ina suke ba
na'am
sai da nan gaba in man bincika an ji wancan an ji wannan ya ji alƙur'ani
to na ga wasu gungun mata ɗazu can na ma dai ɗauke su na ɗan yin tabi da su
gudu suka yi
na'am
ka san wani suna gona
na'am
gudu suka yi Allah kuma ya sa ka su an ga inda suka yi
na'am
sai wasu ma yanzu gaskiya ba sai na su
to ubangiji Allah ya kiyaye Allah gwada mana mafita Allah ya kiyaye Allah ya ji kansu Allah
kiyaye ubangiji Allah kiyaye. Now the point there is this. These were people who witnessed peace deals with the terrorists in Katsina State. They haven't actually really experienced any peace. They still keep losing their loved ones. Who goes to like the market, wedding ceremonies, or who even try to go to school. So they still get attacked every day. And yeah, they're talking about them, one of them, Matos, that they killed somebody next to his house. So the point here is this, making peace with terrorists who walk into a peace deal fully armed, and they left the venue fully armed. That is not peace deal. You know what I mean? It is like the offer of, I don't know how to put it, but I'll try. It's like people offering themselves, right, to the highest authority. In this case, the terrorists are like the supreme authority, and people have no one else to stand up to them. So therefore, we'll do whatever you want, like we'll cooperate with you. And therefore, you can do whatever you want with us as well. But that's not peace. It's not. And because of this insecurity, because of all of this, economic imbalance, hardship, and all of that, from the blue zone, Nigeria Labour Congress announced that they would be embarking on a national protest. Obviously not majority of Nigerians are never probably going to listen to them. But they did choose a day, and it was today. So last night, they took Ajeru into Aso Rock to go and meet Koolu. And I don't know what you expected Koolu to do within few hours to stop insecurity. They said no, they needed to protest. And for example, the remaining children out of the 350 school children they took from Papiri in Niger State, do you know that today marks it 25 days that these children have been in captivity, and it's not even a national conversation in Nigeria? No. 25 days. And the Bible said the children are fine. Their parents said these children are being fed with dirty water, but they're not fine. But it's not of national conversation in Nigeria whatsoever. So the NLC said they were going to stage a national protest today. And yeah, he met with Koolu last night. met with some of the APC governors, especially Hopeless Uzodigba. So, and then the next thing was, yeah, they went on this morning, but it didn't last before it was also, suspended or ended. I put all the clips in this long watch. Please watch.
How was the meeting with the president?
We came for consultation with the president and we have finished. So we have to go back to our meeting and then continue tomorrow. By tomorrow we will get the outcome.
Okay. Are you still insisting on your protest?
If I'm insisting or I'm not insisting, I will communicate to you. It's not an organization that one person rules. Let's go back. Now you have a meeting of Labour and the Governors Forum. We'll go back to the drawing board and digest all that Mr. President said to us and move forward from there.
All right, thank you.
Consultation is going on. We are dialoguing. Like he said, at the end of the day, you know what you are supposed to know and what you want to know.
Okay, what do you think Nigerians should expect out of this?
Of course, we are here to serve the country. Both the Labour, the government and the governed. We are all working service to the nation.
Citizens who are also members of NLC wanted to see Mr. President, and they've seen Mr. President. And of course, they are happy they've seen Mr. President and they've had firsthand that at least the president has driven the economy out of the woods. So it's a very good news.
The environment, the country is completely insecure, and we are also a part of the entire process. There will be no nation without the workforce. No nation without Nigerian workers. Nigerian workers are the largest in the committee of workforces across the African sub-region. Please, let us be all committed. Let us be together. Let us come out more advanced to protest peacefully for insecurity to be abolished, for security to be installed in Nigeria. In all nooks and crannies, we can achieve that. It is a collective responsibility of every Nigerian. That is why we have adopted this, to show that we are the owners of the nation.
Are you on now?
Long time. Good to see you.
All right, sir. Are we good? Yes. All right, as well as the president of Nigeria. What is the outcome of the meeting?
Well, like you are aware, as I have been told, the various reforms going on. Unity is very critical. And our national interest is also very important. And that the march towards economic prosperity for regular engagement. The President's programs to secure Nigeria?
He's not going to talk on our side. The action started this morning, and we are rounding up. We take back whatever we discussed with them to our members. And the attitude of meeting at the day or the eve of any action is not rocket science that action will be put off, even if it give us that point that day. Because it takes a lot to mobilize after campaign. But even what we got is like promising you. And we want to have confidence in the governors that it will deliver. However, Mr. President was emphatic that the issue of insecurity will be a thing of the past very soon. And that he's taking extra steps to take care of it. All areas we face. And we equally talked about financial insecurity. Because a worker that is not well fed and not well paid will have even more problems than the one that is now. Mr. President has said he has put Nigeria at a map of prosperity. I agree that we are going to meet in January to look at some grey areas where we need to touch, which will equally translate to the prosperity of the working people. The governors equally, the president gave them to listen to our demands and articulate it and have that channel, to reach it. Because
no point, Jerry, because Jaku, you know, sure you get. So NLC, they have lost their supposed mojo. They've lost the horror, and a lot of people just see them as group of clowns, who, that shouldn't be taken serious, so to say. Today, NLC can call for any national strike in Nigeria that people will probably like. They don't beat that man before. That's the president of the NLC. They're beating him so much by the guy he's standing next to. The irony, yeah, it was Hopeless Uzodimba that organized the beating of Ajero last year in Owerri. Ajero want to go to Owerri to go and lead a protest against Hopeless Uzodimba, the governor, over, workers, welfare, pay. And the moment he landed at Owerri airport, the beating started. They beat him so much that he lost his identity. Like you could barely recognize him. That is the supposed president of over 40 million. How many are they? Over 40 million workers in Nigeria. There is no 40 million workers in Nigeria. Nah, not like that. But yeah, something like that. Maybe 10 million. I don't know. Then beat they gave Hopeless Uzodimba ultimatum to apologize. Nada, nothing happened. But look at them now. They are arranging to meet in January because they wanted Tinubu to stop insecurity, to end insecurity in Nigeria, and also improve the economy. Jokers and clowns, yeah? You wish that sometimes, right? Sometimes I'm not in support of anything violent, so sure you get. But when you look at how people take a chance when they finally lay their hands on these cretins called politicians, like this one that happened in Zamfara today. This was supposed to be a lawmaker in Zamfara. But the way they beat her, you go no say, Baba, a lot of Nigerians don't love these politicians, and they need to understand that if for any given chance, the way they go treat you, maybe say anything, no. You go to say, Baba, be armed robber yet. No. I mean, how would they beat a lawmaker like this? Kidulishi. this one is, a general warning or advice to whom it may concern. You saw those you are hearing. Now, person face the slap. Oh, I understand when they say that if you wet somebody's face and you give them that dirty slap, I don't approve of that. Like I said, I am not in any way kind of like, supporting any form of violence. No to violence, okay? But I have not actually, I don't know what it looks like if somebody have to put up a sand and use a hand of sand to slap you. Even the policeman there couldn't protect him. Did you see that guy that dusted that sand like that and the other gave him a slap? That is a lawbreaker. And it can be really, really even worse. It could get lynched. So that's why if you are a politician, you're doing like this. And people are because they've given them some goodies, money or whatever, and they are all hailing you. They don't like you. They're hailing you simply because, they will get something from you. But if they actually have the chance of expressing the way they feel about all of you politicians in that contraption, if you give them chance, say, you know what, we are going to do a day of purge. So imagine, it's just that when you do day of purge, it's practically for the poor. The rich will protect themselves and all that. But I'm just saying, like a fair purge, and you have a chance of going after these people. That's when the Nigerian politicians will understand how the people actually feels about them if they have the chance of expressing it. For now, we say they are so lucky. Now, them welcoming Fubara into their midst. He's joined APC, by the way, right? Yeah, I was with them this afternoon as well. After they cleared the NLC and their own noise, the NLC clowns, they went on to go and welcome Fubara.
And Governor of Rivers State, Governor Fubara, is here as our latest member. So I don't know how many we are now. I think we're over 28 as members of the great party. So how else do you know a party that is doing well? There are 28 governors are here as members of all progressive convos. So even if whatever it is the case, we have 28 quality apostles of President Bola and the Tinubu. So it's a great thing and a thing of joy.
So how do you respond to the criticism in some quarters that the APC is driving the nation to a one-party state?
You can also ask this question to too many men looking after one beautiful woman. I think APC has shown what Nigerians are trying to improve is that they're happy with all progressive policies. They are happy with the performance of Bola and Tinubu. Parties have come, parties also came good and they've gone. And today APC is at the center stage. And the music they are dancing, the accolades they are getting from other political parties, if there is any, and all politicians in Nigeria. And even way beneath Nigerians, what they are saying is that the reform policies of President Bola and Tinubu is working. That today, nobody can say I'm not educated because I have no money to go to school, because we have loans to give to those who want to go to school. Nobody will again say, I couldn't treat myself because there's no money to pay hospital bills, because today we have health insurance scheme. So many, so forth and so many.
The reason why they are coming to us is because, in Nigeria today, nobody can say they can't go to school because they have no money. Can you even believe that? Because you can go and take student loan. Like, nobody can say they can't go to the hospital now because they don't have money. Because there's now health insurance scheme. It said that right there. And you'll be asking yourself, like, what the? Because that's the world they are living in. If you're not seeing it that way, you are obviously, an hater, so to say, or somebody who doesn't love Nigeria. When you call them or try to kind of like, when you call them in their track of lies, propaganda, use lies to win elections, so to say, right? And then you can't actually use the same propaganda to run a country. But these guys, they are not running propaganda to them. They are actually really running a country. like Devulumayi. I don't know his obsession with all this talk about Biafra these days. So, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, because it seems that every opportunity he has right now, he wants to tell us why the Igbos don't want Biafra. This was said today when he was doing end of something meeting, briefing, then to Biafra, because Tinubu has now integrated the Igbos to Nigeria. Igbos don't need Biafra anymore.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, having done all these things, that there will be no need for agitation of Biafra again. And I saw, I watched Arise this morning, and they were talking about it. And Abati said, look, there is no region that is not talking about marginalization. And so, what I then meant was that we were excluded, Southeast people, were excluded from the affairs of the nation. And that our president has included us. So having included us, then we can talk about marginalization alongside with other zones. They talk about that we've never been president. If I've never been president since, is it Bola Ahmed Tinubu that will make it overnight by ceding his own position? No, he has to complete his 2 tenures. We are comfortable with what he's doing. We've been included. And so we can talk about marginalization, alongside with other zones. People talk about the effect of the Civil War. By including us, it means it's the right step. Whatever that went wrong, he has the capacity and the good heart, to, redeem it. It wasn't just South, it's South, part of it. So I want to boldly say that there is no need for Biafra agitation. We are better in Nigeria. Look at our resources in Southwest, in North, all over the country. And so, under this kind, high-hearted president who has included us, is not being wise. And I'm very bold to ask our people to speak out. Let the leaders be bold to speak out, because we can't keep quiet while, people that don't have economic, knowledge and the knowledge about administration will be darkening council without knowledge, and we as leaders, we keep quiet. We have to stand up. It doesn't mean that we are 100% okay. No region is 100% okay, but the journey has just started, and we believe strongly that the president is uniting the entire 6 geopolitical zones. We believe that under him, by the end of his second tenure, Nigeria would have been a united, country, where the man from Sokoto will be in Ebonyi State, no harassment. He has equal rights with others. And this is very important. And to every region, I ask you, when you move from one region to the other, obey the laws of the people, obey the culture of the people. Don't be more Catholic than Pope. Respect the people.
Man, if you think, say, some of you will think that, poor people are very pretentious, like they will do anything to worship. No, you haven't seen the supposed rich people lick the bum crack of somebody who is their benefactor. The way that guy was talking, especially, I'm going to start from the last part. Nigeria law says every Nigerian is free to live legally and do business legally in every part of Nigeria. It is only northern Nigeria where they have special law that overrides that. They call it Sharia law. There's no other place in Nigeria. So Devulumayi is indirectly, like many before him, gaslighting the Igbos on the legitimacy of their agitation. Igbos have always been appointed into the federal cabinet in Nigeria because they just don't have any choice. Igbos have not just only been appointed, though, they have been appointed into prominent, important federal cabinet position in Nigeria, ministerial positions. But you see these guys, these alatenujes, these ass lickers, they would want you to believe that it is just under this Tifnumbu that the Igbos have now been invited into the federal government of Nigeria. And therefore, since he has appointed people like him, he has appointed this one, the Igbos are satisfied. Do you get that? So there is no point in asking for anything else again, Jare. You know what? I'm a minister today because Tifnumbu loves the Igbos. No, Tifnumbu didn't make you minister because he loves the Igbos. It's just as he's got no choice. So why would somebody like that? Ah, man, God damn it, man. Sure. And listen to me. They are all the same from all part of that contraption. Ass lickers, praise singers. They will do anything to keep their own feeding bottle being regularly refilled. And since they are mostly using me and you as their meal tickets, in case if you don't know, when you look at them and they say, I'm talking for my people, as a Yoruba man, I have to fight Irolong, give a damn about Yoruba people or anything. He's using that same Yoruba as Yoruba ticket to sit in that table and collect his own share. And you see somebody that says, I can speak for my people. The Igbo people are behind you. The Igbo people love you. No. The Were is using the same Igbo meal tickets to sit at that table with them. And as they are, when they all come together like that, they do not have any allegiance to any tribe, any ethnic, or any religion. Just so you know that one, okay? But they are pretty much those who are fueling, the toxicity that surrounds all of this, tribe, ethnic, and religion. And that's why they said Nigeria cannot break. Yeah. Once you get involved at the national level, they give you an appointment, you will never see Nigeria breaking. Like, why should Nigeria break? Maybe Nigeria should break after me, not now. Do you get what I mean now? But why should Nigeria break up now? Now that I have been, my uncle has been appointed as a Minister of Labor. Oh, my aunt has been appointed, my aunt's husband, right, has been appointed as a special advisor to the president on agriculture. Meanwhile, this person is a doctor, maybe a vet doctor. But he's been given a political appointment to be advisor to the president on agriculture. They know it's got nothing to do with agriculture, but they are now part of the federal appointment. Now they will be explaining economy to you. Those are the people that will be explaining security to you. Those are the people that will now be telling you about governance. And they will be educating you on what you don't know and why Nigeria cannot break. Nigeria cannot break. Lie, never. But let them leave that power. They will begin to tell you that this country will break up if we continue like this. They are no longer in that position. Shameless, selfish, self-centered people. They are all over the country. We all don't like how Nigeria is working. Until you now realize that nobody all of us don't like how Nigeria is not working. No. Okay? Some people actually want to be part of those that makes that contraption not really working. But if they are not able to get inside, then they will join people like me and you, that they usually call the ignorant ones, the loud ones, and the worst of it all, right? The enemy of the country, for pointing out all these lapses, these character flaws and all this stuff, right? And saying, how can you believe people like this when they talk to you? They say, well, it's making sense. Are you crazy? Do you know this person? Say, yeah, but you will see, they're all the same, but it's making sense. That's why I kind of respect him. Say, you respect me, God damn it, man. So it's a tough call. This guy once said, by the way, this one who actually backs me, right? Said, like those who are currently with Tifnumbu as well, right? Those who worked with Bokwari, he said 95% of them were supposed to be in jail. Now, I agree with him. He said PCO.
So I tell you that if we open the books, 95% of those people that have served and got their budget released should be in jail by now.
I mean, it might not be fair to say that the 5% because there are good men in this country, and there are
so
good
maybe
people.
Those good men around those years are the 5%. Yeah.
So there are a few good people in the
very
government.
few good men around.
Your
around
inference is that Buhari's government had more corrupt people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What is the basis? What do you know? You are a member of the party. You are closer to some of these people.
There has never been a time when government budgets were 100% released without interference by the presidency like Buhari's time. There has never been a time when ministers got free hands to operate like Buhari's time. We knew it. Everybody, you know it. Everybody knows that. They were given 100% of their release, that's their capital budget, and nobody was talking to them about what to do. They did what they wanted to do. They did what they felt was right for them to do.
So the book feels, that book indicated or inferred that there is actually a cabal in the Buhari government.
Everyone was his own cabal under Buhari. If you got the chance to meet Buhari and explain things to him, you become a cabal. Yeah.
So it was a free-for-all under Buhari government.
Absolutely.
The nation was at...
Absolutely. Now, nobody needs to remind you of this show.
On autopilot of...
absolutely. People were doing what they wanted to do. If you are appointed under Buhari, your job will be abdicated to you. No supervision.
Is there any difference under this government?
Do I need to tell you?
You need to tell me.
How many ministers do you know in this government?
I mean, quite a few of them that I know.
So it's to tell you that it's not business as usual.
So this government is different from the government.
Hands-on. If you're talking about government, hold on, Bashir. Let me. If you're talking about government, a president that is hands-on on nothing else but his finance, it's Shashwaju.
Nuisance, Lele.
Don't forget. They wrote a book for Bokwari, which was unveiled inside the Ass Old Rock 2 days ago, I think. And the book was that from soldier to statesman, the legacy of Mumumadu Bokwari, the lifeless Daura Manikoin, by the way. But there are so many revelations according to those who have actually read the book or those who reviewed the book. This book was written by Charles Omole, who was also appointed under Bokwari as one of the spinners, the liars. All right? But that guy didn't lie when he said it was a free-for-all. In that book, right, it was revealed that at a point, Maman Daura, Abakiyari, hang on, probably like after Abakiyari dead or so. But Maman Daura despised Aisha so much that they accused her of poisoning Bokwari. And the fear of her poisoning him again, right? They prevented her from seeing him since he came back from that London, which in itself fueled the speculation that Bokwari died in London. Because from the moment he came back, this was in 2018 or so, 2017 or 2018, Aisha Bokwari never entered the room of Bokwari again until the end of 2023. So it was revealed that indeed they were actually planning to get another wife for Bokwari. He denied it. He said one of the things they said about him that continued to crack him up was that they actually told people that he was getting married. They even printed invitation, this and that. Now they are telling us that that story was true. That intentionally they actually wanted to get another wife for Bokwari, or that Bokwari that they brought back. So no wonder. Remember that time when Aisha attended one of this Tifnumbu's campaign program? An indoor program. And she said, where are the men in this country? Where are the real men? When only 2 men are controlling this country, controlling this government and all of that. They all had a free hand, no doubt, because it was like a free-for-all. Under the supposed anti-corruption general, right? So it was a free-for-all. They looted Nigeria. They emptied Nigeria. Now they wrote a book. It is believed that instead of the book to actually really praise Bokwari, the book is out to ridicule him. For those who have actually followed it. Koolu delivered a speech. I have decided to cut this into two so that I won't waste your time, all right? But here is the part of Koolu's speech in what was called the Legacy of Bokwari's book. And guess what? It is believed this particular project or book is believed to have been funded by Tifnumbu, right? In order for the ridicule of Bokwari, they say, right? I'll show you about first. Tifnumbu.
It should motivate future leaders to learn lessons rather than repeat slogans. Buhari was just a simple man, honest, respected, unassuming, and full of good sense of humor in his simplicity. In that spirit, let us reflect on the enduring pillars of President Muhammadu Buhari's legacy. First, humility. President Buhari preferred simplicity over ornamentation. He believed that a leader must first discipline in himself before he can discipline a system. He lived modestly, and he carried the dignity of that modesty into power. Second, security. President Muhammadu Buhari recognized that security is the foundation of citizenship and prosperity. He invested in platforms and personnel, improved capacity across our armed forces, and pushed for reform that endured beyond headlines. He understood that safety requires protection, both in state and in its citizens. Third, with vision, he understood the importance of long-term thinking, constructing bridges, restoring railways, building roads, modernizing our airports, renewing critical infrastructure, while prioritizing maintenance and sustainability. Fourth, social justice. He believed in targeted social investment to ensure that the state did not ignore the poor and the vulnerable. These are the pillars of his legacy. But a legacy is given greater meaning when those who follow choose to continue what has been started. That is my duty, and I pledge that one today. President Muhammadu Buhari loved this country consistently, morning after morning, decision after decision, straight through to the oath he took. That is why even those who disagree with him often acknowledged his honesty. Our political journey together taught me that cooperation across differences is not weakness, it is wisdom. Nation building demands that we compete passionately and we compete dispassionately. Govern responsibly. President Muhammadu Buhari understood that the contest ends when the oath begins. In his memory, let us keep our politics honorable and our governance focused on results. Nigeria is greater than any tribe, language, faith, or political party. This book reminds us that one life lived with restraint and responsibility.
Fellow Nigerians, this is just the beginning.
Because I knew that Koolu was reading from his teleprompter, so it would have been funnier if he was just saying it like his normal random thing, you know. They say a dead fish cannot swim again because it is dead. What? Is that like what? Philosopher or what? That's Koolu. You know what I mean? No matter how short you are, you can see the sky. What? Is that? But you know, say now that kind of say if you go to a bow joint, here you get. You will see somebody that say, Baba, I the reason I'm all. Because I don't discover the technique where Jesus used 2 fish to feed 5,000 people. Say, how? Say, Baba, he shred the fish in it. Say, I never thought of that too. Like he shred the fish. Now, small thing, oh. That's exactly what Koolu is. When Koolu is not reading his teleprompter, he's quite a funny person. He will speak randomly, like just like loosely. You don't want to make any sense of what he's saying. You know, say, well, like if I go outside, I'm always going to see the sky. Like, is that something so deep? Say, oh deep, oh deep, oh deep. A dead fish can never swim. Say, why? Because it is dead. Say, that's deep. That's deep. Baba go deep. We don't know what everybody that's Koolu. And that's how much the standard is, so to say. In that book, Bokwari was presented as one dunce, a very stupid old person. I'm not kidding you. It was presented like everything that happened under Bokwari, he is not really aware because he trusted them to go and do the work. It was presented that Bokwari trusted people so much that the people abused that trust. They presented in that book, they presented Bokwari as somebody who lacks his own personal will. He was controlled from the day 1 to his last day by Mama Daura. Bokwari was presented like somebody who was such a very like stupid man that anybody could walk in. If the moment you have access to him, you could convince him to sign off some certain things that ordinarily Baba not supposed to happen. So it was just a stupid person. Now, some people who are already reading the book are feeling like insulted. But they had a small ceremony though. And Bokwari's family and daughter, they were all there. And that was where Aisha dropped the bomb that she had to, for her own safety, she had to relocate back to Dubai and then to London. Because it got so bad that Bokwari believed Mama Daura and others that she, Aisha, was going to kill him. And that is why she never saw Bokwari like spend one-on-one time with her husband, other than just for photo op and all those things you see inside the Aso Rock and the rest, right? Aisha was so limited that she never entered the same room with Bokwari until his death. I didn't say that, she said it, right? But they mounted a big caricature of the book, by the way. And some of these northerners are really mad that this book didn't. And the person that wrote the book never had an opportunity to sit with Bokwari. He was appointed by Bokwari. He was working for Bokwari, Charles Somole, but never had a single chance, 1 minute chance to sit in the same place with Bokwari. Talk less of actually having any close encounter with all the characters. But he did capture them to some extent. And some said it was actually commissioned by Tifnubu to go and do this arcade job for God knows what.
That said, the unveiling of the law from soldier to statesman, the legacy of Muhammad.
So that was a Koolu there. Now let's wrap it up. You know, Dangote has taken a further step against Mr. Farouk or Malam Farouk Ahmed over this issue of his corruption. Dangote has further submitted a petition against this Mr. Farouk to the ICPC because according to him, not only that he spent $5 million sending his children to school in Switzerland, he also was at the verge of paying oil marketers in Nigeria 200 billion naira. Something to say, okay, maybe it's probably like indirectly fueling, subsidizing the oil marketers so that they can cut down the price of petroleum in Nigeria against him, Dangote, and, you know, something like a sabotage again. Only for Mr. Farouk to wake up this morning and said, I'm not going to say anything. In fact, I'm done. He resigned. Yeah, the guy resigned there today. And that is kind of like shocking. Because forever make Dangote go this, I mean, like, you know, come this far to call out the head of an agency, accused him of corruption, and wanted him not only to be sacked, but to be prosecuted, investigated and prosecuted. And in the middle of all of, I mean, Dangote said, printed flyer, put them inside the Nation newspaper, the Tinubu's newspaper this morning. Dangote published the names of this Farouk, the school they went for 6 years, how much the tuition cost, and how much is suspected that he must have spent. And he put his name down there and said, it's Dangote, Aliko Dangote. Let me take this one off. Sure, you get me now? Like he went all out, signed Aliko Dangote. Then he went on again to go and put it inside newspapers. You dey feel me? Inside Tinubu's newspaper. So he wants Tinubu to see it. I don't know what happened, right? Maybe the guy was called and told to put in his resignation. And in that same breath, Tinubu appointed his replacement. Okay, let me check the name of this guy. Right? So who has now been appointed in replacement to replace the Mr. Malam Farouk, right? So that's the replacement. Sorry, I didn't grab his name. Adeboyega something. That's his name. All right. And also, while we are here, right? So there is already a report of the Nigeria's Tasgira. What is that guy's name? Your foreign affairs minister. They are in Ouagadougou meeting with Ibrahim Traore to plead their case of the 11 military personnel, right? And the news says they have been released right now. So they travel down to Burkina Faso to go and plead their case concerning the, the detained military men, accused of accused of violating the Burkina Faso's, airspace, suspected to be spies and all of that. So these guys have managed to get them out. And yeah, out of respect, he said, Ibrahim Traore ordered the release of these men and the aircraft. So that's a good one. You got me? Yeah. So Mr. Farouk has resigned. We don't know that if that is just a way of Dangote, like I said before, for Dangote to come public, because usually you don't see Dangote in the public. It doesn't come to the public to do all this fight. It is behind. Those who get crushed by him are those that will come to the media to tell us about what Dangote is doing. He's monopolistic, he's manipulative, he's this and that, but you will never hear him. But because of this refinery, he can no longer stay behind the invincible Dangote, Aliko. So for him to come out boldly to accuse the head of an agency, it is always going to be the other way, not Dangote. Yeah. except that if Tifnubu decided to probably like turn the hand of the clock, right? So Farouk is gone, and then the allegation as well, we have no idea where that is going to now probably edge. I thought I should mention it before we go to bed this evening, okay, or this night. And here is another one. Amechi, Amechi, or Angon. We're talking about Bokwari earlier, aren't we? So one of the most powerful supposed minister of Bokwari during this time is Abubakar Malamu, the former minister of injustice in that contraption. Malamu has been in detention now for corruption, by the way. He's been in detention now for over 7 days now. So he's been in detention of the EFCC because of the suspected $17 million that got paid to some lawyers from Abacha loot. That's the one I've been talking about since, yeah. They finally officially are now kind of like acknowledging it, that indeed, among all the money that Malamu scooped from, or schemed from the returned Abacha loot, right? There was a particular $17 million. That's what they're holding him, right? So the thief once said, by the way, that people said they spent this money to buy cars for Bokwari's campaign for his own, for his own campaign. I think there's a subtitle underneath.
Wajen bada miyagun kwayoyi lokacin da muke bada kofi ba za su ji daɗin an kawo aikin alheri saboda ka sun yaya da cewa an raba mota 100 fiye da haka nan 200 masan in Allah ya hore min jirgi 100.
AGF Malami.
Abubakar Malami. He was accused of sharing over 200 Mercedes cars. If they hold this guy and what they have done to what they did to Nigeria is actually treasonable. Yeah, that's how much money they had. Like, he was accused of sharing over 200 cars, Mercedes Benz, to his supporters for his governorship ambition. And he said others are using their money to share hard drugs to the youth. He shared cars. They are complaining that he shared cars. That inshallah, by the grace of Allah, he will share aircraft, like he will share plane. That means he's going to share something bigger than that. But where is that coming from? From stolen money. Another one that's also a clown. That one robbed his own state to bring APC to power, but he's barely acknowledged. His name is Rotifmi Amechi Ubima Judas Iscariot. Ubima Judas Iscariot is somebody, right, who somehow have managed to evade the radar. Okay, so right now he wants to be president. Yeah. So at one event this week, he was telling those his listeners that he would never settle for a vice. What do you call it? He would never settle for the vice presidency because, right, he would rather be president, of course, and I kind of understand that. But with what money? Of course, your money. You know? Rotifmi Amechi.
My wife said I should not take her own budget. I will not be vice president to anybody. There are too many reasons why I won't be vice president to anybody. The first reason is that I'm too presidential to be vice. Instead of that, I would rather be a minister than be a vice president. So unless I see a president that will do what I did to my deputy, we run a joint office. Every morning they visit my office, we sit in my office, we run government together. He closes at 4 p.m. I continue to 8. I go home. Now, that's the first thing. The second thing is what landed them in the South. In 2015, my argument to the South was it was the turn of the North. It would be wrong for the South to take power from the North because it's their turn. So what landed the South now? No, you're not qualified to be president. Let's go back to the North, the turn of the North. No, I won't. It will be difficult for me to go to say that idea that the South, you can't be president because the North wants back power. Again, I don't care about zoning. Trust me, I don't care about zoning. I don't care. I will continue to sell to Nigeria. I told Nigerians that if you voted for President Tinubu, you will suffer. Because I know, well, what they will be in politics, of course. So when I hear him complain, I laugh. When I hear people with them, I laugh. Because that time they were laughing, I was crying. Now I'm laughing, they are doing what? Nigerians are also part of their own problem. If you know you can't defend the votes, let's not confront you. Because if you think they will rig election, you're wasting your time. So take it for free, I will not advise.
Nuisance, Lele.
It's Nigeria. Maybe Wike won't be president of Nigeria too. I mean, if Wike was your presidential candidate in PDP and there was no Peter Obi in the picture, who knows? Maybe Wike will be your president now, and it will be a complete different experience, so to say. But yeah, shit happens. So thank you very much, everyone. All right, for your time. Yeah, we kind of like stretched it a bit extra this evening. So thank you. If you haven't really liked the broadcast, this is a reminder. Please do share it. Subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't at this point. Okay. So I am going to see you again, of course. And you should all have a good night, so to say. Thanks for your time. Princess, you had our time this evening. Good night.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun dayari Politico. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀gọ̀ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o ákàmù. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í.